live. There we go.
We're live.
Hello, everybody
These
who's
aren't
joining us
doing me.
tonight.
That doesn't do me any good.
Hope everybody had a great week.
Had a great week. It's been.
And you had a great week?
It's only been a week. I don't know if I had a great week, but I had a week.
We had a week.
We had a week indeed.
Today, the weather here in Oregon was super rainy, and we got torrential downpours. Had to move all of our new tomato starts quickly out of the way and put them under shelter because we were a little bit afraid of them being damaged because they were just transplanted into bigger pots, and so they're still very scrawny and weak.
Yeah, we didn't really have like a really rainy day. We just had towards the end of the day we had some pretty big downpours move through. So
Yeah. So let's talk about what we're doing here. I'll zoom in.
I forgot what we named it.
Wooded path.
That's all. That's the best we could come up with.
Oh, yeah. It just kind of says exactly what it is. You know, when we had our art studio, we would give them all these like fantastic names, like fairy forest or something.
I'm just gonna start giving them serial numbers.
Yeah. So like now it's like, well, we just want to tell people exactly what they're painting. You're painting a wooded path.
It's just.
Although last week's was Field of Dreams.
I'm literally just going to start giving it a serial number. This is serial number 3742.
Okay, sounds good. Tell us about our colors.
So our colors, you guys, are kind of interesting. Oh,
hey, Daniel.
Daniel's here. I think a lot of people are just joining to watch tonight.
Yeah.
That's kind of the general consensus. Color-wise, so we kind of have an interesting color palette. And I want to point out something real quick. I painted this painting using craft yellow. Mm-hmm. I don't like the craft yellow necessarily. It's fine. But if you guys have craft yellow, use craft yellow. If you use whatever yellow you want, let's just go with that because this is kind of a weird painting because none of the colors are very prominent. So when I look at the colors on the palette, for example, like yes, I've got burnt sienna, but it's not very prominent in the sense that we're using it straight on the canvas. I mean, it's kind of the base here, but any brown will work and we can warm it up. Phthalo green, you can see.
It's not a super common color.
What, phthalo green?
That I've seen in like paint kits you can buy.
Right, but it's not, it's actually not even that's not the green in the painting anyway. So. It's
one that you could skip.
Yeah.
Definitely, looking at your painting, you could definitely skip.
So I used the phthalo green actually for the shadows. Mm-hmm. So. And then the yellow, whatever yellow you want. And I got done with this painting and I was like, I'm okay with the craft yellow, but we're going to do it with yellow ochre tonight because that's actually what I, in hindsight, would have preferred. And you'll understand why when I start doing it. I do think phthalo blue is pretty important of all the colors. Phthalo blue and white are the two that you really have to have those two. Mm-hmm. You could get away with cobalt, but phthalo is going to be better. And then we use phthalo red. You could get away with magenta. You could get away with bright red. It really doesn't matter. And
I would say if people are aiming for, move your palette, the greenish you've got going on back here, they're not going to really achieve that with yellow ochre.
Yeah, they will.
You think?
Yeah, for sure.
That's like a key lime green.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Trust me on this. I have the vision of.
All right.
Yeah, don't question me. I don't question you. Don't question me. Okay. So anyway, so this painting is.
I will always question you. I'm married to you.
Yeah. Okay. This painting is actually. One that I would consider, I'm not going to talk a whole lot longer, but this is one, well, actually, we'll just start painting, and we'll start talking about it. This is one, there's been some things I've been working on my own personal artwork, implementing, and I'm starting to incorporate that into some of our Go Box stuff. I mean, not Go Box, palette knives out.
Wow, you're off your game.
I've got, Jenny will vouch for me, something just allergically hit me a few minutes ago, and I'm...
Maybe you're allergic to your 3D printer.
I don't think so. Anyway, so if you'll notice, this painting is pretty different, I think, than other paintings we've done recently. So let's just get at it. So again, I'm going to be using yellow ochre. If you want to use craft yellow, you can use craft yellow. If you want to use medium yellow, you can use medium yellow. If you want to use cat, whatever yellow you have will work. Naples yellow, if you have it, would be amazing. But we don't have Naples yellow
Not here. No.
here, but we do at home. So let's get started. We do 95% of this. I actually was tempted to do this whole painting just with the big brush. And then I got into some areas where I was like, no, I need the little brush a little bit. So what we're going to start off with is we're going to start off with our yellow ochre. Oh, that's right. I rinsed my brush.
Yeah, I was wondering. I saw it on your bristles.
I didn't rinse my brush. I had, when we squirted out the phthalo green, it had to be stirred up on my palette a little bit. All right, so a little bit of our yellow ochre. You could use raw sienna for this as well. And I want...
Put white over the top?
Yeah. I feel like I've got a lot of shadow from my hand. So.
Not Paul complaining about the lighting and the shadows.
Oops. Yeah, well, it was casting a pretty nasty shadow.
Always telling me I'm the one complaining about it.
Yeah, well, you do.
This is a weird start to this painting.
That works better, I think. So we're gonna, but I can't see. We'll just live with it. So this doesn't have to be really light. Just kind of a circular kind of shape, about like yay. Could add a little bit more white. Doesn't need to be super light though. Now, what we're gonna do next, maybe go a little bit more across here. I'm not gonna really worry about rinsing my brush, but what we're gonna mix up is we're gonna mix up a very lightish periwinkle. We're going to take a little bit of our blue, a little bit of our phthalo red. And if you end up with a little bit of your yellow ochre in there as well, just a tiny bit, that's fine. Now I'm going to add some white. I think you may have underestimated how much white we're going to end up using. And I'm just going to start in this top corner. Work down the side. I'm going to leave myself about maybe an 1.5 inch gap. Somebody said something.
Daniel, maybe you sniffed jalapeno salt like I did and started sneezing. Well, it's weird because the warehouse actually smells like gasoline. And
my neighbor's a mechanic,
so we think that's probably what it is. But Paul was wondering if it's the 3D printers, which are both
no, I don't think it's
right now. But
I run those all day, every day.
It smells like gasoline to me.
I run those all day, every day, and I never have an issue. So, all right, I'm now just going to take a little bit of white, rinse my brush off, and I'm going to use the white to kind of pull these two colors together. I want a little bit more of the gray in here. If this gets a little bit muddy along the transition, that's okay. It does not matter. It doesn't really matter anymore.
This is what the sky looks like today.
Yeah.
It kept going from rainy to sunny.
So let me explain what we're basically doing here. We are basically creating, and this is why I wanted to use the yellow ochre instead of the craft yellow for this back part. We are creating a warmish glow.
Are we supposed to blend this yellow ochre like into this color?
It doesn't really matter that much. You should try to. I'm using
then
white.
It does matter.
Don't be a smartass. Nobody likes a smartass. But all this really is it's a combination of warm glow and background shadow. It's okay if this all kind of comes together. Paint's driving really fast tonight. Yours too?
Yeah, but I think it just always does in here.
Could be. I don't
Big
know why.
open area.
But I painted this in our garage.
It's cold out there.
No, yesterday afternoon.
Was it warm yesterday?
Yeah.
It wasn't super warm.
Au contraire.
I worked at the bakery yesterday, and I got sent home with 3 giant pieces of coffee cake, a cupcake, and 3 giant cinnamon rolls. And I'm like, well, there's no way we're going to be able to eat all of that. Or no way we should.
All right. So the next step, this background is really, let me think of the right way to put this. It's really a bunch of soft blobs.
So technical.
Yeah. All right, so now I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow ochre. I'm just going to mix in where I was just mixing, because I don't have any paint there. So I'm going to add a little tiny bit of my phthalo blue. If you guys have phthalo green, go ahead and add a little bit of this too. Not much. The phthalo green is a really intense, overpowering color. I'm actually going to add, there we go, a little bit more of the yellow ochre. Perfect.
What did you mix there? Yellow ochre and blue? And
pretty much just, you can get away with just yellow ochre and phthalo blue.
Okay.
Just kind of creates this, in fact, I actually think we're just going to leave it like this. And when I did the original, I actually used a little tiny bit of the burnt sienna as well, but we don't need it. I'm going to leave a little gap kind of in the middle here. We'll figure out our path later, but no, let's not leave a gap. So I'm just going to kind of come across maybe about, let me see, go about 3 inches from the bottom. And then this is what I want you to do. Paint across and then just take, like, kind of wipe any excess paint off. And then just lightly kind of fluff this up. Into the sky a bit.
This obviously takes very little paint.
Yeah, so that's why I said wipe the excess paint off.
Oh, I missed that part.
You need to learn to listen. I joke, I kid. Haha. You can add a little bit of the phthalo green. It's not that important at this point. Just softening. You can wipe the excess off.
Are we leaving a gap in the middle?
If you want to. We don't have to. This painting is kind of funny.
Whenever I see the word phthalo, it makes me think of a jazz singer's name. Oh, thank you, Corey.
What?
Corey said my hair looks lovely. It's finally getting a little longer. I had cut a huge amount off, like 6 inches or something. And it was always just like a length that, it's not bad. It's not like growing out a bad haircut length, but I just wanted it a little longer. It's finally getting there. But now it feels like way healthier.
So I want to point out real quick that this softening doesn't have to be like this perfect blend out. So if you're getting, it's kind of choppy. I am kind of keeping my brush going vertical while I'm softening that out though. Yeah. Mix up a little bit more.
Is this just background noise? Chatter?
No.
Like you always call it chatter. Is it tree chatter?
No. Well, kind of. Yeah, I mean like where it's blending in and it's not perfect.
Tree chatter.
It's texture. But I don't like to call it like specific chatter because then people think I'm painting trees and I don't want you thinking that.
We're painting Spanish moss upside down.
Nope. It's not.
Actually, that's
It
something.
could be.
I should do a Spanish moss painting. I love Spanish moss. Maybe I'll do that next time. You started adding some phthalo in there too.
Just,
Phthalo
I mean,
green.
I'm just not being real specific.
Yeah, so you're not like using one solid type of green.
No, I haven't used any phthalo green. That was just phthalo blue.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I put a little dab in there. It's just really not. Doesn't matter. Phthalo green is a color that I don't think should ever be used on its own. Like, I'm just gonna paint phthalo green on here.
It's great mixed with white.
I mean, it depends on what you're painting.
It mixed with red, it makes purple.
Actually, that was part of my intention of using it today, but it would have been better with bright red instead of phthalo red. I actually thought about calling this a phthalo walk in the woods.
So explain how you're moving your brush. Are you like swirly curling it, or you just up and down like a kid scribbling?
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier.
Okay. Well, I heard you say vertical brush strokes, but like that could be anything.
Oh no, that was when I said well, no, vertical's up and down.
Well, it could be vertical curly cues.
That doesn't make sense. That's word salad is what that is.
The name is green, phthalo green, private eye.
All right, cool. So
Google always tries to autocorrect it when I type phthalo green because it is a shortened version of the mineral, which is really a long, long word that starts with phthalo.
it's like phthaloacetone or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not that, but all right. So we are going to take this same color we just made. I'm gonna add a little bit more of my yellow ochre to it, so it's a little bit softer. And I'm just gonna turn my brush so it's on edge. And I'm just gonna start pulling some lines up. Not pushing down real hard. I want these to be kind of fine. Picked a fine time to leave me, Lucille.
What is that?
You don't remember that old Kenny Rogers song?
No. Wait, yes I do. I just didn't recognize it with your
Well, I'm sorry. I don't have that rich, gravelly voice.
good old Kenny Loggins.
Not Kenny
I mean,
Loggins.
Kenny.
Oh, my goodness.
I know who I'm talking about.
Sounds like it.
Kenny Rogers. Guy with the beard. Not the guy from Top Gun music.
Kenny Loggins had a beard.
Guy with the gray beard. Good lord.
Michael McDonald had a gray beard.
Those two would kind of be a little easy to mix up. Like if someone didn't really know the Michael McDonald and Kenny Loggins. I mean, Kenny
Jenny is
Kenny
wants to get
McDonald.
Kenny G.
Kenny Rogers. He passed away, didn't he?
Who's that?
Rogers.
Yeah, a few years ago.
That's what I thought.
Lady.
He did do it with Dolly Parton. I remember that.
Islands in the stream. No, it's not that
Yeah,
one.
no, wasn't it? Yes, it was.
I think it was.
Yes, it was that one. Sail away with me. Hey, we could karaoke that song.
That is like one of the most karaoke songs there is.
Well, then we can join the crowd of people.
Join the masses.
Yeah, nobody does Lita Ford and Ozzy like we do.
It's true. It's true indeed. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit now, take a little bit of my yellow ochre, add some white to it. I'm going to make a paler version
Do it, Daniel.
of what's in the sky.
What are you doing with that color?
I am coming in with this color. I don't want this to be, I could actually, it needs to be a little lighter. Just throw in some vertical streaks in. That would be up and down, Jenny. Up and down vertical.
You're like itching for trouble.
When am I not? So just lightening up some of this a little bit of our orange, our yellow ochre glow. All good right now. Happy, happy, happy. Joy, joy, joy. You can pull some of this lighter color down a bit. We'll build it back up. Just got a lot going on with this painting. We really only got one person in right now. Is that what that looks like? We lose everybody? Everybody bail on us?
Drove everyone away.
You changed the yellow.
Certainly did.
All right. There'll be method to my madness, and the end painting won't look that much different realistically.
I don't really understand what we're doing right here with the light.
Don't understand it yet.
Are we going over the trees or just in between?
Just in between. Just we're not really doing light yet. Just adding.
You said lighter than the background.
Yeah, just some little smudges to break it up a bit. This is good. This is good. This is good. Okay, cool. Now, I want to go ahead. I'm going to keep using this brush, and I'm going to now use our burnt sienna. If you don't have burnt sienna, I got a sneeze coming on.
Yay, allergies. You know, you're supposed to say mayonnaise, mayonnaise, mayonnaise.
Okay. If you don't have burnt sienna, you could take your yellow ochre, a little bit of your phthalo red. You add a tiny dab of the blue, a little bit more phthalo red. That's not too far off. You want to go, like, basically, you do a little bit of each of your primary colors, but you're going to lean more towards...
Maybe tilt that a little bit, because it's pretty glary. It's hard to see your color for people.
Oh. Well, it's actually not that much different.
What were your colors you mixed? Phthalo red, burnt sienna?
Yeah, I was just starting to explain it. No, that's not burnt sienna.
Oh, okay.
That's phthalo red and yellow ochre with just a touch of the phthalo blue.
Oh,
that's
nice.
if you're mixing your brown.
That's a nice color.
So that's if you wanted to mix your own. And the whole theory on that is you're going to basically create something that's bordering into orange using your yellow tone and your red tone, and then you're going to use just the tiniest little bit of blue to tone it down so it's not so intense. So that's how we make a brown.
And you could, if you had a little black, you could put a tiny dot of black in it to darken it.
Or you could just add a little bit more blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're avoiding using black in this painting. So, in purpose. So I'm just going to start with this color, and I'm just going to kind of meander. And this is a kind of a generic little path shape I've used a million times in paintings.
It gets a little wider at the bottom.
A little wider, kind of just disappears. I try to make it disappear going like it's going sideways to disappear rather than straight up to disappear, because then it feels like a stairway to heaven or something. You can add just the tiniest little amount of white to this while you do this, just for some opacity. But it doesn't really matter, because we'll come back in and add some more color. This is just so we know where we're going. God, the allergies tonight, you guys. I'm so sorry you have to listen to me sniffle and snarfle.
I wonder what gotcha.
I don't know.
Because you weren't like that on the way here.
No, I think it's whatever that smell is. I think it's the
Gasoline smell?
gasoline or whatever it is.
Let's sue your neighbor.
I don't think it's gasoline. I think it's exhaust. You know those old cars, and there's the exhaust smell kind of somewhere between gas and...
Yeah. I'm so glad my hair's going to smell like it.
It's awesome. Okay. Now, our next step. Just kind of bring the original back. It looks vastly different right now, and that's okay. That's where it's supposed to be. The next step is we're going to do mid-ground trees, which are We only really have just a couple of these big foreground trees, like there's 3. The midground is going to be a darker color than what we've done, but not real dark. So we're gonna mix up what we can do is we're gonna mix up a little bit of raw sienna, burnt sienna.
Corey said, Larry, my husband, said hi.
Hi, Larry.
Hi, Larry.
Shout out to Larry.
Shout out to Larry.
All right. So I'm just kind of mixing up I'm thinking of my burnt sienna as being kind of like a red mixing purple. So mixing my brown and my...
How come you're not just using the burnt sienna?
Because I'm adding blue to it. Okay. No, I'm not adding raw sienna or yellow ochre.
Oh.
That's what I was just saying.
Okay.
I'm treating the burnt sienna as red.
Okay.
And mixing it with blue to make kind of a dark purple.
Ooh, got it.
If you want to add a little tiny bit of phthalo green, if you guys have it, you can. It takes over in a hurry. I don't love it. I'm going to add just a little bit of my phthalo red. And we're right back to the color we had just a minute ago. So I don't want to have, if you have a lot of paint on your brush, that's fine. Just be aware that you've got a lot of paint on your brush. I'm going to start on this left-hand side, and I'm basically going to show you, this is kind of a multi-step process. I'm going to start over here. I don't want to push down real hard. That actually could be a little lighter, so I'm going to add a little tiny bit of white to that mix. And I'm not going to worry about it because I can always cover it with a bigger tree.
He said, thank you for helping me to learn to paint wonderfully.
Awesome.
Oh. Yeah, thanks for joining us.
All right, so when I pull this down into this area, so this mid-ground area is kind of, like if we were thinking the horizon's kind of just below the midpoint, and then we take that area and divide it in half. That's kind of about where the bottom of this goes. And what I would do is when I get down to the bottom here, I'm just going to kind of scribble out. I'm going to scribble up a little bit too. But I want to break this up. But we're going to use this color, and we're going to create quite a few trees. And don't worry about where they go. Like, if you go over a tree that's already there, that's fine. That's the way nature works too. Trees don't stand out of each other's way for the photo.
Unless they're ents.
Unless they're ents. Now, I'm going to go with quite a few trees on this left-hand side. Trunks. And you can vary your thickness of them. You can push down a little harder for thicker. And I just don't want, I want there to be, what you want to be careful of is that they're not all evenly spaced. That's,
too late.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw the odd guy out here. Why'd you throw me out, man? Just because I'm different? Well, apparently that's the way things work. But I want this to be fairly dense through here. Keep in mind, I'm sorry if my head gets in the way. You guys, I have to go in and get eye surgery. And so I have to really kind of lean in and see what I'm doing. And I got consultation for next week for my eye surgery, so hopefully that will be done soon.
And you're going to beg to have it done immediately?
Yeah, well, I kind of have to just fit within what they give me.
I'll slip you an extra $5.
That's going to make all the difference in the world to the surgeon.
You can buy a tiny little latte with no flavoring added.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to use the same color. I'm going to do 3 or 4 over here on this other side as well. Maybe not quite as dense on this right-hand side.
This totally could be a scene from Return of the Jedi.
There's some truth to that. Yeah. There's some truth.
It's like Endor, right?
Yeah, it's kind of got a little bit of an Endor vibe to it. Not going to lie, maybe there was a little bit of inspiration there.
We have our next May the 4th. June the 20th.
Yeah. Actually, it's kind of a combination of that, and then I was really inspired by the colors you used last week.
I know, I'm super inspiring.
I mean, that's why I started painting to begin with.
You looked at it and you're like, I could do so much better than her.
Oh my gosh. You make me sound like it's no wonder I have no ego left. You make me sound like a terrible person. I
don't
joke.
remember. You did. So you signed up for painting with me. You did some life drawing too, right?
Yeah, and basic design and yeah.
Your parents were like, "What's happening to our sports boy?"
Well, to be fair, my sister was also an art major, so it wasn't like, and my dad was an artist.
He should have not stopped painting. Maybe we could get him to do it again. We'll force him to do it on his birthday later on this month. Okay, we're doing a paint party.
All right. So I'm going to take a little bit of this color now, and I'm going to turn my brush, and maybe I'll zoom in a bit so you guys can see better. So same color, and I'm just going to start taking this color. I'm turning my brush so it's this way instead of this way. And I'm not really thinking about anything.
Are these fir trees in?
I'm not thinking about anything.
They're indoor trees.
I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just blotting in shape.
They're blobs.
Yeah.
Corey wants to know how long it takes your eyes to heal.
So my eyes should take less than a week to heal.
Nice.
I have to have cataract surgery, so they're just going to be taking out my lenses and putting in basically like permanent contact lenses.
I wish I could watch that.
You can.
I could?
Yeah, probably.
I doubt it. You wouldn't let me watch it.
I don't know.
bet I could find one on YouTube though. Just so
well, I have to watch a video about it between now
cool.
and Tuesday. And so I've always battled with astigmatism. I've had glasses since I was like in 3rd grade, and it was because of astigmatism. And I've actually had, when I was a wee little lad, I had a few seizures that we don't know what caused them, but I had what they were called febrile seizures, and one of the byproducts of that can be microcataracts.
Well, febrile seizures are caused by high fever, so you had a virus.
Something.
But then you had some seizures later on when you were a little older that nobody really knew where they came from.
So I've always had microcataracts. It was like my doctor described it as like chocolate chip cookies, but the chocolate chips are cataracts.
Yes,
that's what
nice.
my old eye doctor, Dr. Stahl, used to call it.
I forgot about Dr. Stahl.
Yeah.
I used to go to him too.
And so the combination of astigmatism plus microcataracts has always made my night vision driving just a wonderful experience.
It's like every little street light looks like a giant firework in the sky.
Yeah. But in the last year, I've developed good old regular old cataracts.
I think just about all of our parents have had cataract surgery, so...
My dad hasn't.
Oh, your dad hasn't?
He had the
I can't remember if my mom has, but my dad has.
So, anyway, so they'll be able to fix my astigmatism as well as the cataracts, and I will not need glasses anymore, except for maybe reading glasses. So,
it's
kind
the
of
same surgery your mom just had, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was like in awe because she said she thought every day was hazy outside.
Today, like right now, my world right now is like every day is like when you get out of the shower and it's super steamy and you're looking in the mirror and you can't see.
And I think what happens is you just get used to it. You know, it's kind of like...
Well, like for me, it's like I didn't even really notice it, and then I was like, holy crap, I can't see. Like it wasn't like it was just like one day. It was just like all of a sudden, like I was aware of how bad it had gotten. And
today he sent me a message on Facebook and said, I set my glasses down and I can't find them anywhere. And I said, okay, Velma. And I sent him the gif of Velma from Scooby-Doo, like on her knees looking all around for her glasses. Because I totally remember that from all the episodes. She would lose her glasses.
So nice of you to mock me whenever you can.
Hey, I was just bringing some humor into the equation.
I know. I'm just kidding. All right, so just kind of like a little update where we're at. Obviously, I used a warmer yellow on the new, using the yellow ochre instead of the other, but don't worry, method to my madness.
Corey says her mom painted in oil ocean scenes.
Awesome.
That's what Paul's been doing.
Yeah, I actually have a couple in progress right now, and maybe I can...
I think they're too big to show.
No, I would post them on our Facebook group.
Oh, okay.
Just because they are in...
They're like 4 feet long.
No, one's 24 by 18, and the other one is...
Only 24?
Oh, you're talking about those.
I'm talking about, like, yeah, the long ones. I guess they're at
those aren't
Stars,
oils.
so.
No, those ones that are here are not oils.
Oh, right. Those were acrylic.
Jenny and I are making a push. We're making a push. We want to start building up our actual gallery type portfolios. Because that's kind of like what we see as being our semi-retirement.
Our gateway to retirement.
Our gateway to retirement. Here's our plan A. We're going to be artists.
Oh boy.
But you know what? We can do it. I'm not too worried. All right, so I do have, there's a little bit of our phthalo green. So this is where I'm going to pull in a little bit more phthalo green. I really want this upper portion to dry a bit before we move forward. So I want to work just kind of in this lower area, maybe in our path a bit. So the path I've got fairly large right now. It is going to shrink. So this is just kind of the base colors. I like to paint in the base color of a path and then bring in the foliage and things around the edges so it overlaps. So let's start doing that a little bit. I am going to keep using the same big brush. If you guys have phthalo green, this is where we're going to use it. If you do not have phthalo green, just use your phthalo blue. It'll be fine as well. So, and we'll see. My phthalo green, like I said, when it hit my palette, it got funky. It was kind of starting to separate because it's a bottle we haven't used in a while. But add a little bit of Phthalo Red to it. I'm going to add a little bit of raw Sienna. If you're wanting to do this without these two colors, just make a dark purple using phthalo blue and whatever red you've got. This becomes a little bit more of a dark greenish color. Add a little bit more phthalo red. There we go. Oh, you know what? There was something I wanted to do on this painting that I didn't, but we'll do it. I meant to do, but it was much ado.
Did you say that was phthalo green and phthalo red?
Yeah, primarily. I added a little bit of burnt sienna.
Own it.
Yeah. I'm just going to kind of let this kind of creep out over the edge. I see you creeping. You creeper.
Yeah, this phthalo green needed to be
shaken
up
a lot.
Because it's really jelly.
Yeah.
There's like a gel that goes in acrylic paint. I don't know what it is.
I've noticed that some of the colors are more, at least this brand, the phthalo green seems to be more jelly-like than others. And that's from using these paints for, what, 14 years now?
Mm-hmm.
And all this is really doing is it's starting to help build these shadows in these bottom corners. That's why I said it's really not that important that you have phthalo green, because it's just creating a depth of shadow here. And
I'm going to go with you don't need it.
You don't need it. But what I like about using, and this is something we haven't done in our palette knives out or go box. I used to use phthalo green and red a lot.
Mm-hmm, you did. Yeah.
For shadows in
the live classes.
Yeah.
Like the studio classes.
Yeah, because like shadows like we're doing right now, you want it, it's in the forest, so it's okay if it has some greenish undertones to it, but it's really hard to mix a purple with greenish undertones. But phthalo green and red make this wonderfully deep, rich purple, which doesn't make sense, but there's enough blue in the phthalo green.
You know, this reminds me of a painting that you did years ago that was really popular in our studio, like insanely popular. for quite a while. It was called Misty Mountain Woods. Do you remember that
Oh
one?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar. In fact, there's going to be some more
It
elements.
had a waterfall though, I think.
It did. There are some elements that are similar in here. I'm going to take my brush and just kind of take a little bit of this color. Well, I wiped my brush off, so it's just kind of like dry brushing a little hint of this color into this background. This again will...
We watched a artist YouTuber that our daughter follows the other day that was doing, doing Bob Ross paintings with just the sound piping in through his like AirPods or whatever, and no visuals. So he's like, whatever Bob was saying, he was having to do it.
Yeah.
Without seeing like exactly where Bob is putting things down on the canvas and how his brushstrokes are moving. Now Bob is really descriptive with what he's doing, but I was actually pretty impressed with how
I think he's watched.
accurate
I think
his-
that guy's watched a lot of Bob Ross videos.
It was pretty entertaining. It was funny.
Like I think
I don't remember his name though.
I don't remember either, but I think I could probably do pretty well with that.
Let's do it as a challenge. Then we'd be copying that other guy.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, like, just because I've watched enough Bob Ross, and actually I used to paint more Bob Ross style when I was younger, and so it's kind of like, it's not that far out of the... Well, I actually remember when we first started Van Gogh, we thought about getting me certified.
Yeah, about paying it, but then the only reason we didn't is because you would have to go, like, stay for a couple weeks over in like Indiana or something.
It was like-
I remember.
Yeah, I don't remember where it was. It wasn't Indiana.
In one of
it
the I
was
states.
Like,
It was one of the I states.
is it Indiana?
Not
or is it-
Idaho. It was like Illinois or Indiana or something.
I thought it was in like Tennessee or something.
No, I don't think
It wasn't Idaho. It must have been Illinois. Okay, so this is where this painting is going to start to get interesting. This should be dry up here. I'm going to zoom in. At first, I'm going to zoom in on our palette. Well, I'll do both. I'm going to have to trust Jenny that is focused.
so. Yeah.
Okay.
In focus.
I'm going to switch brushes, and we're going to go with our
Wow,
number.
we haven't used another brush yet.
No,
Just realized.
no, and we could keep going with this big brush, but what we're going to mix up is I'm going to take a little bit of my Phthalo Red.
You're using the number 8, so you're like
Yep.
quarter inch wide.
Little tiny bit of my Phthalo Blue. I'm going to make a warmish purple, so a little bit more on the Phthalo Red side, and I'm going to add a lot of white. And when I say a lot of white, I want this to look barely, somehow I got,
Tinted.
yeah. And so I'm going to show you guys a little trick. If you've got this, I've got a lot of that color in my bristles, but let's say you've got this color going, and you're like, you don't have to mix the whole puddle.
Just mix into like half of it.
Just mix into the edge, and you can keep mixing and pulling. So I'm mixing this pale lavender. And what I'm going to do with this color,
Oh my gosh, that color has been your color lately.
well, and there's a reason for that. This is why I'm using this. I'm going to start taking this color, and I'm going to start throwing in some vertical streaks. Now, they're very vague streaks.
What are they?
They're nothing to think about.
They're just expressive color.
Just follow me on this. I don't want to tell you what they are because then then people get too specific in what they try to paint.
That's rude.
It's not. It's not. It's called trusting the process. And you're not getting rid of everything.
What do you mean getting rid of stuff? Are we painting over foliage?
No.
Okay.
I said you're not getting rid of everything.
Okay.
You're not listening very well tonight. You're wanting to fight me on everything.
I want to know what this is.
Okay, so I'm going to wipe off a little bit of my excess paint, kind of smudge around over some of this foliage. I'm going to add a little bit more in here. You want to leave little bits of your warmer color streaking through.
Mine may be a little dark.
Should be pretty pale. It should feel lighter than your yellow. Just kind of let this streak in and smudge out over some of my foliage in here.
Are they forest ghosts?
You really have a need to label things. It's okay. We'll be fine.
Well, I don't love the way mine are looking.
Don't worry about it.
I felt like if I knew what they were, I might be able to like drive my brain to do the thing.
Okay, if I were to tell you what it is,
Mm-hmm.
what would you do? If I were to just tell you it's light.
It's light. Okay, it's light. I would make it lighter because mine was ending up pretty
No, that's yeah.
purpley.
But this is why I like just want you to just trust the process and just be like just do it.
Yeah, I think mine ended up being.
You basically just gave me the I don't know about this.
I don't know about it.
I don't know about this.
Now I have to start sighing really loud.
Okay, so using this same color, this is where it starts to get a little bit more important. You paying attention?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to have quite a bit on my brush. I'm going to start adding dabs and spots.
Oh, this is why you wanted to call it dappled forest or something like that.
Yeah. Yep, in these darker areas. And we can do a little bit. I'm not going to do quite as much on the left-hand side. But maybe we're just going to, maybe, as Bob Ross would be, maybe right about here, in between our trunks.
You know, this is how like Jim Musil and William Hawkins kind of paint too. They add in little dappling.
Yep, it's the
between the
only
trees.
real way to get this effect right.
Adding some background color between the foliage.
Yeah, maybe add a little bit. We don't want to do too much on the left. I almost did too much already. We are going to have more foliage and stuff coming into the mix. We're going to have more light coming into the mix. I do think if you've got, you can kind of streak in a little bit more over here if you want to.
You really have to kind of think in negative spaces.
Yep. But I want the warmth of the yellow to just continue to be there. Hey, it's Marlene. I think Marlene probably said hi earlier and I missed it maybe, but.
Yeah, I said it out loud, but.
Apparently I'm the one who needs to work on listening.
You need to listen.
Again, this left-hand side we don't want to do too much because this is a more shadowy area, but a little bit here and there. I'm going to take a little bit of this color and just kind of got a little bit crazy right there. That's all right. I'm not too worried about it.
Daniel, are you using like that in the context of that song, Pass the Dutchie? He says, pass the paintbrush on the left-hand side.
100% that's what Daniel's doing.
It's funny because I read that in that melody. Pass the paintbrush on the left-hand side.
Now, here's the thing, you guys. If you get a little bit too much, like maybe it's starting to feel too cool in here. So cool, man.
You cool?
You cool. You can always take a little bit of, some yellow ochre and white. We're actually going to do a little bit more of that in a bit. Again, this painting is not, not supposed to do that, but painting is not supposed to be real precise. But if things get too, just make adjustments. Trust yourself. Gotta lose yourself in the moment. I just realized I've been zoomed in all this time.
Oh, shoot. People missed what you were doing.
Yeah, a little bit. It's all right.
Rude.
So like, I'll give
No,
you an
you
example.
weren't zoomed in because
No, I just
we saw you do that.
yeah, I was kind of zoomed in a bit. Like this area right here, I just got a little bit too much of the white lavender going in, so I'll just take a little bit of my yellow ochre or whatever yellow color you're using. Just kind of glaze it in. It's okay. We're gonna do more, so it's totally fine.
Oh. Yeah, Daniel said, do you mean still be zoomed in? Whoops. I was really into painting in between my tree foliage and liking the effect.
Yeah, it's a great effect.
I love watching artists do this too.
And if you need to come back in and re-enhance some of your trees, you know, fine, do it.
I definitely lost some.
But we also have these two or three big foreground trees that are going to come in and really kind of make all this pop a little bit more. And it's time to do that. So, and actually maybe what we'll do is we'll let that dry a little bit more first. Let's go back to our number 8. Which one is it? So I'm going to focus in a little bit on our path now. So I feel like the way this path is building for me, maybe you see it too, Jenny, this back area is becoming lighter. Like the sun is coming through. The sun's going to be coming in from over here, you guys, and coming across the painting like this. And it's not like a real fine point. It's still early enough in the day that it's more of like a wide wash coming across rather than like a fine point that's going radiating out. But it's cutting across and it's going to dapple in here a little bit. So I'm going to take a little bit of my burnt sienna. I want to add just a little tiny bit of my phthalo red and some white. I'm going to need some more white.
Yeah, I got it.
And I'm kind of just going for this kind of warmish pink. You could add a little tiny bit of the yellow ochre to it too. But I'm not going all the way across. Like this little ridge of plants and stuff here is going to create a little shadow. And maybe there's a little bit of that path kind of extending back in there. You guys, you won't believe it. Jenny went golfing with me this week.
He managed to, well, there was bribery involved.
Yeah, I still am not sure about that.
I made him pressure wash on.
She made me spend Father's Day pressure washing in exchange for going golfing.
Okay, well, the only reason it was Father's Day is because every other day you're committed to that play.
We're getting close.
What did you mix here to make that?
So that's a little bit of raw sienna, a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit of pink, or the phthalo red, and then a little tiny bit of white.
Okay.
And as I move down into this foreground area, I'm just going to be more like it's dappled light kind of coming through here.
So did I drag your guys' overall score down?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But it doesn't matter.
You asked me to go.
No, it's all right. When it gets all done, it's only our top 10 rounds that count, so it doesn't matter. And it was more, I don't really care about winning anyway.
I had to join because other Paul couldn't join. So I took other Paul's spot.
Let's be honest.
But how good is other Paul?
Other Paul's pretty good.
Okay.
But
Let's be honest, what?
So my league, I've made good friends with a few other people there, and one of them is a couple that's about Jenny's and my age, and they've been desperate to meet her. And we got to play with Chad and Kelly, and they're really cool people. Right, Jenny?
Yeah, they were. I liked both of them a lot.
Yeah, they're super nice.
I think she's younger than us, though.
She is. She's 47.
Okay.
He's 48.
They both look good for their ages.
Yeah.
It seems like they have a lot of fun together.
They do.
Second marriage for both
Second
of them?
marriage, yeah. They have. She has. What? That's mean.
No, I was laughing at what Daniel said. For first time I've ever heard the name Chad be connected to quote unquote cool.
Wow.
Hey now.
Be nice. He's a Chad.
I always feel sorry for people who are named Karen, Chad, because that's just not fair.
Okay, Jennifer. Oh, I see what you're saying. Because
Like,
of the
because of the negative connotations that memes and things that Gen Z has come up with.
Yeah, especially the Karen one. We have a few friends named Karen, and it's just like,
I don't think we have any that were actually a Karen. One of my friends
No.
who's a Karen is not named Karen.
there's truth to that. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of my yellow ochre and maybe a little touch of white too. And just add just a little extra.
The history with people named Chad. Sorry. That's what Daniel said.
There were definitely a few Chads in our era.
I knew one who fits from high school that fits the Chad name. Fits the, I don't know, what do you call it? Stereotype of what that particular Chad is. But
I don't know.
I don't know that I've actually known very many Chads.
Not very many, a few. I grew up in a middle upper class community, and we definitely had some Chads.
A lot of Kyles.
Didn't have a lot of Kyles. We had Chads. Chads and Bradleys.
Oh yeah, you had Bradley.
We had a whole bunch of Bradleys.
Bradley.
I don't know how we ended up with so many Bradleys.
Bradley, put your navy blue blazer with the
Bradley.
gold buttons on.
And your loafers with your khakis.
Yeah. I can visualize that whole outfit.
I mean, it's basically, think of Caddyshack, and it was the grandson when he shows up the yacht day. The only thing that was missing is the white yachting hats. We didn't do that.
What if there was Chadley?
Chadley.
Hey, we just came up with a new name, but you have to spell it like...
Chadley and Bradwick.
It has to be spelled Chadleigh.
Oh my gosh, we are only
Chadley.
entertaining ourselves right now, and if your name is Chad or Brad or Bradley or Chadwick,
We love you.
don't take it personally. I mean,
I'm a Jennifer.
She's Jennifer. I don't know anything about. I don't know that Pauls ever have anything weird.
You're biblical.
I'm biblical. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my yellow ochre and just kind of glaze it. Just a little bit. Warm this area up just a skosh. That's not a word you hear very often.
Sounds like it sounds like Canadian talk because of Nova Scotia.
Skosh.
Skosh. Is that an actual term?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I think we should start using it again. I used to say, and sorry if this is over the line, the O in chat is silent.
I know where you're going with that.
I went to school with a Kyle and a Bradford.
Oh, a Bradford. Who went to school with a
My
Bradford?
sister's husband is Brad.
Okay, I'm just taking a little bit. I just mixed up a little bit of my Phthalo Red and Phthalo Blue. And just...
missed some steps.
You're too busy, like, you're all over the place. I just dry brushed, almost no paint on my brush. I just wanted to bring this shadow on this left-hand side up just a bit. Just like that, there we go. Just dry brush. What dry brush means is you've barely got any paint on your brush, just enough to very lightly leave a whisper of the color.
That was...
Just Phthalo Blue and Phthalo Red, just a little bit. Because what I'm trying to build over here on this left-hand side, I'll bring the original painting back in, is I'm building up this lavender kind of... What this is happening is here, let me just explain, is we have two different background temperatures going on. we've got this warmer color, that's where the light's coming from, and then we have this cooler, but because it's purple, it's a cooler, but not too cool, shadows. To indicate that this side of the painting over here is much denser forest, and this is more open, and so the light's able to shine through into the denser portion of the forest. Just like that. Yeah, you can take a little bit of this color.
Blue fog.
It's shadow. And it's going to send a fax. Therefore, it is shadow fax. You know, it's once.
I don't feel like my color's the same as yours.
It is.
Is it?
This one up here?
Oh, for glazing?
Yeah.
Oh, you added some white to it, or
No.
is that just?
Just very little paint.
Okay.
Dry brushing. I can't read it. Gosh.
Let's see. Oh, there's nothing new.
Okay.
Daniel said, "What? No way."
I am literally, what are we, 2 feet away from the monitor, and
Belma.
I can't see anything.
We're Belma.
All right. We're getting close, you guys.
My path got kind of weird shaped. Like,
Yeah.
What do you suggest?
I feel like it
Goes up too high,
It
maybe?
just goes up, and it's like, where does it keep going? So it needs
Do I
to.
need to cut it over sharper?
Yeah. So if you look at mine, for example, it cuts almost
Yours is so snaky.
snaky. Lava snake. Did I send you that reel from The Office or Parks and Recs?
I don't think so.
Oh, I should have. I thought about it, but then I was like, I don't know. You get so mad if I send you reels.
Well, I need to figure out how to, because I'll turn the sound off on my phone for notifications, but they'll still come in, and like I'll be listening to a book and like totally into my book, and then I'll hear
You've got mail.
Showville has sent you a reel on Instagram or something, whatever.
Does it actually say that?
Yeah, it says something about having a new notification on Instagram from Shillville, and they'll hear it over and over and over again. It's like, I want to be able to look at these, but on my own time.
I do the same thing to Daniel's, just so you guys know.
Oh my gosh, my phone died the other day. It's an iPhone, and it just, I was screenshot a photo and was cropping it. It was a meme, some stupid meme about seagulls living for 30 years, so they've actually technically been in the 90s.
It's
And
true,
I thought
by
it
the
was
way.
so funny. This was like at midnight, and I was cropping it, and then my phone went black, and the Apple logo kept blinking, and I was like, "Did I run out of battery? I don't think so." And I couldn't get it to come back on, so Paul was googling it, and it's called a boot loop.
Boot loop.
Stuck in a boot loop.
Ooh, now I want Fruit Loops. Can you tell me how long we've been running?
It's 6:34, so just like an hour.
Okay, we're doing good, guys.
Luckily, there's like YouTube videos for every single possible thing that could ever go wrong with your iPhone.
It's true.
So I looked one up and bought the stuff I needed to buy to completely take my phone apart. A little scary, and I made Greta do it because Greta really wanted to, and Greta has much better eyesight and more nimble fingers than me. So technically, Greta fixed my phone. We
And
just unplug the battery, unplug the earpiece cord. Because I guess a lot of times it'll do that if you have even the tiniest bit of moisture on the earpiece cord, which is altogether possible. And
it's a cable. It's not.
put
a
it all
cord.
back together, and lo and behold, it works.
The wire. It's a wire, not a cord.
But I felt so like off my game, not having a phone all day. It was so weird.
And we've had drama going on, so it was kind of like you were missing stuff. We're back on our nonprofit, and my lord, the drama is.
Well, it's a theater board.
It is a theater board. I'm not going to get into it, but there's been part of me that's gone, what were we thinking?
Oh yeah, I've had that thought multiple times.
All right. So one of the things I did is part of like the lavenderish. I wanted to lighten this up a bit. So I might even do a little bit more so you guys can see it again. Again, I mixed up a little bit of lavender. So a little bit of my Phthalo Red, a little tiny bit of my Phthalo Blue. I don't really want to add white. I mean, you could add just the tiniest dot. And you really want almost no paint on the brush. And just kind of foggy this up. You kind of want to still be able to see some of these streaks of the trunks. If you lose it, like I just kind of got a little bit too crazy there, it's okay. Just take your brush, wipe it off, spread it out. And maybe do a little bit over in here, but not too much. Not too much. All right, so this is building. What this is doing is it's creating for us a softer background behind these three main trees in our foreground. And this is kind of something that gets a little bit lost, I think, a lot of times when people start getting into painting initially, is they try to detail everything. And then it kind of just takes the focus away from the important things. So, that said, we did not have black on our palette, so we are going to create black, or close to black, because we are going to do our main tree that's here, a secondary tree that's kind of close to the edge here, and then one that's kind of over in here. But we need a color that's close to black. So how do we make black? So, it's kind of interesting. The theory, the way, you know what, I need a new paper towel. That doesn't happen very often.
I need one too. Get them.
Color is interesting. Like when we start talking about color, what we see visually is light and how light bounces off of things. And white is the presence of all color, and black is the absence of all color. But when we mix paint, it's kind of the opposite. White is the absence of pigment, and black is the presence of pigment.
Black is all pigments.
Pretty much. So, if we're getting super basic with this, which is what I'm going to do, part of the reason my towel needed to be done is I have not been wiping excess paint into my jar. I've just been using my towel. I'm just going to mix right here. That's where I've been mixing all night. So I'm just going to take blue. I'm going to take my Phthalo Red. And in this case, if you've got the burnt sienna, you can add the burnt sienna. Instead of adding, you could add a little bit of yellow ochre. The yellow ochre is going to lighten it a bit. So really I want black, burnt sienna, little red, add a little bit of phthalo green. There we go. Everybody in the pool, pretty much. And I'm going to just make a big commitment. I'm going to say this tree is going to go, it's going to end right around here. I'm just going to paint it in. It's thick. Kind of the width of the paintbrush.
Don't body shame that tree.
No, that's not body shaming. Big old tree like that's seen some things. Do another one that's a little bit thinner. Right, right in here. And we don't need them to be like black. I think that's something we rely on. Oh, it's got to be super dark. It's got to be black. Nah, we don't. Don't do it. Forget that nonsense. It's time and place. This is not that time and place. Halloween paintings, we'll do it. Then I'm going to do one tree right about here.
We're getting closer. There's only going to be like 100 days to Halloween. Isn't that crazy?
You guys, should we announce what we've been talking about?
What?
Should we announce what we've been talking about?
What have we been talking about?
You know what I'm talking about. Our subscription. No? We might make some adjustments to it.
We haven't really been talking about much.
Oh, okay.
We haven't really had time to talk about much.
We're just looking at their levels of subscriptions, and some things might be adjusting. I'll just say that. That's fair. We know that's going to be true.
I don't know what colors you mixed here.
Everybody in the pool. So mostly it's the phthalo blue, phthalo red, and the burnt sienna.
Not make black.
I didn't say it made black. Yeah, it could be going up, you guys. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what it's going to do. We've just been talking about some things. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, not enough talk to even say anything. Though,
Well, I thought
you're
we were.
a yapper.
I thought we had talked about it, and I thought it was fine.
He's a yapper. He loves to spill the beans with everything. There isn't any bean. There aren't any beans to spill. We have not even discussed anything.
I'm not going to talk about this anymore because.
Because I'm calling you out
No,
for the truth.
that is not the discussion we had. That is not the discussion we had. So, and we don't need to argue for our customers.
I'm not arguing. I'm just calling you out.
No, that is not the discussion we had.
I'm covering up my pretty tree.
No, that's all right. All right, so I'm going to take that same color now, and I'm going to add a little bit of more of our foliage, not a lot. These trees are closer, so it's up higher, like the foliage. So just a little bit, just kind of at the very top.
Same color?
Same color. Apparently I'm not the only one who doesn't listen.
You're going to get some paint shoved into your mouth. This color, you're black.
All right. And I'm going to go ahead and switch to my smallest brush. I didn't actually use the smallest brush in the original painting. I got a sneeze coming on. Just mix up a little bit more of the color.
This is like Wildflower Walk and Misty Mountain Woods combined.
Kind of. And I'm just going to, these are a little closer, so I'm going to go ahead and just add some hints of some little branches coming off of these. Okay, I'm just going to tell people. We've been talking about selling prints of our paintings via our website. Let us know if you guys would be interested in doing that.
We just have to research it a little
We have to research it a little bit more. It's not that complicated, but it's something that we thought would be a lot of fun because sometimes maybe people would like to.
But it would not necessarily be prints of like what we do in here. Sometimes
It might be some our original artwork and stuff like that.
And like, okay, so we're talking about doing a print subscription. Like that idea crossed our brain where you pay.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if we discussed that. I'm just kidding.
You're such a rat.
But it's something we're looking into. We thought maybe people might be like, yeah, maybe you want to send
a club. That's what we called it, a print club.
You want a mug? Maybe we'll have mugs available. Who knows? We recognize that sometimes people just want a copy. They don't necessarily want to do it themselves. Having it be an option where we can make prints of our stuff through you guys. Okay. That would be possible. That's potential. I don't know how to do it specifically, but I'm sure we could figure out. If there's a will, there's a way.
We should start the biggest like chainmail thing ever and start with a canvas. Have the first person, one of us, do like some kind of like little thing on it, and then we mail it to one person who adds something, and mail it to the next person. They mail it to the next person who adds something. Gets all around the world.
That would be interesting.
It comes back.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I'd be a little bit concerned about what might end up on it.
Ah, yeah, gets in the hands of the wrong person.
Be like that kid that passed out at the frat party. All right. Where do we go? There we go. Came back. So, what we're going to do next is we are going to bring in a little bit more light. So, we're still going to have a little tiny bit of our little bit of lavender here. Just the tiniest bit. So, I'm making it right here, and I'm just going to take the tiniest little bit of it, mostly white. Get a lot of that in my bristles. Just enough that it's not just pure white, basically. And now I want quite a bit of this paint on my brush. And I'm going to work again more in here. We're going to leave little bits of our gold showing. My nose is just giving me all kinds of troubles. My eyes are burning. Oh my gosh.
You can add some texture to your painting.
It might not be the kind of texture people want to see.
You should take your microphone off when that happens.
I'm trying, sorry.
That was probably so loud for people.
Can't help it. I can't help it.
I want to know what you're reacting to.
I don't know. It's not fun. So this could be just really almost pure white, but I'm not a big fan of using pure white. It works. It does its job, but it just doesn't really need to. It's better to have a little bit of something mixed in. And we'll do a few of these little over here on the
He's
left.
allergic to malarkey.
That's true. There used to be this roofing company that we've done private parties for called Malarkey.
Malarkey Roofing, and I think it was like Irish founded.
Yeah.
We did a big mural project with them that was a big leprechaun.
Kind of got this one little spot that feels a little too cool green to me. I'm trying to fix it a bit, but I'm maybe not going to be able to. Just live with it. It's probably not something that shows up as being problematic. Yeah, that's better. Okay. We're going to have to finish this up. These allergies are killing me.
Well, it seems like we're close to being done.
Yeah, we're pretty close. Getting close, getting close. Okay, so what I want to do next, and I want to let that dry a little bit. Mostly I want these tree trunks to dry a bit. And so I'm going to go with like my number 4. Number 8 works too. You could use your smallest brush, whatever. I'm going to take a little bit of our yellow ochre now. And I'm going to think of there's sunlight coming through here. And it's just going to dapple in. Gosh, maybe add, you could make it a little bit greenish. Add a little tiny bit of blue to it, maybe. And maybe a little white. Let's brighten it up just a bit. There we go. White's kind of a tricky one because it kind of desaturates your colors in a way that isn't always great. Kind of washes things out. A little bit here, a little bit. Just again, we're thinking about like just kind of popping through and dappling through, hitting in here. That is almost too light almost. There we go. Maybe a little bit more of the raw sienna if it's too intense. Not raw sienna, yellow ochre. Again, we get a little bit coming through from the side over here too. Add a little bit of your phthalo green if you've got the phthalo green. Oh, that's good. I actually really like that. All this stuff, if you get too carried away and you feel like there's too much of this light color going on, you can always come back in with your dark color and blot stuff out. It totally works fine. Because I've got too much going on. So, take my dark color again. Just kind of blot it out. There you go. That works. Do this like kind of fine balance. So I'm going to show you something that I didn't do on the original that I wanted to. I meant to. You guys can leave it out if it doesn't work for you. Or again, if it gets too... oops, did not mean to do that. There's this old technique you can use, and this is something Monet used to do, where we're going to add a bright blue in our dark areas. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my phthalo and a little bit of white, about equal parts, maybe a little bit more blue than white. You don't want it to be dark, but you want it kind of like medium, like so. And I'm just going to add some little hints of this color right in here. That may be a little too much. Yeah, it's too much there. If you get too much, no biggie. Again, you just take your darker color. Totally optional. You don't have to do this part. But if you do, and you get too carried away like I just did, just take some of your dark back. And what Monet used to do is he would use this blue in these darker areas to, I don't know what it does, it makes them feel darker even though they're not actually darker. But it works. And I'm not going to question the guy. One of the best ever. He was onto something. All right. Now, I'm going to get all my brushes super clean. I've got a little bit of, maybe a little bit of this lavenderish left. And what I want to do is I want to very subtly add some streaks. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to take a little bit of my lighter color, that light lavender, or you can even use pure white. I'm using actually almost like a little bit of a light pink. Put a little bit on there. I'm going to use my biggest brush with no paint on it, but dry. And drag through that fresh, wet paint that we just put the lighter color. It's real subtle. Maybe if you want it to be a little stronger, you could add a little heavier amount of paint. I'm just going in the same direction on all of these. That little bit I just put on there is maybe going to be too much, but let's find out. Oops. I got carried away. Got carried away again. All right. Now, what you can do too now is you can take a little bit, like make up a little bit of a slightly lighter color of yellow. If you want to use a brighter yellow, like a craft yellow or CAD yellow or something like that, you can do that. Or you can just lighten up your yellow ochre.
Copper phthalocyanine. Sounds like the name of a copper from a 1920s mob movie. You see?
Yeah, you see.
Phthalocyanine. I wonder if that's where cyan comes from, too.
No, because cyan is, I don't think so.
Maybe there's actually just cyanine. There's phthalocyanine and cyanine.
Could be. Do a little bit of dapple in the path.
Dappled little ponies. I'm gonna put some dappled little ponies in my little ponies and friends.
Also gonna take a little bit. I'm gonna take my, maybe like my number 4, or you can use your smallest brush and just take some of your darkest color we've mixed up and just, you know, along this edge here. Now we're not done yet. We're almost done. We're getting close. We do have some highlights on our trees on the left-hand side. The ones on the right-hand side, they're kind of more like in the light, so they're not getting quite as much. They're more just silhouetted. But I'm going to use like my number 4 and my number 8, either one. I'm going to mix up a little bit of my raw sienna or the burnt sienna, or that color I showed you earlier. That's kind of a replacement. You can add a little tiny bit of the phthalo blue to it. And I am going to try not to get paint on my shirt. Put a little bit of that on those 2 primary trees for the most part. And I'm trying not to be too like just a straight line. I'm trying to be a little bit blotchy, a little bit uneven, skip a little bit here, skip a little bit there. Because there's shadows and things like that. And maybe you take your smallest brush even. Take a little bit of that color and hit a couple little streaks in this background here. You could do a little bit on the edge of this bigger tree on the right, but it's not really important on the right hand side. The other thing you can do is, if you've done a bunch of highlighting from around this tree and it feels like it's not casting a shadow, we can put a new shadow in. So just kind of go right from the base at the same angle as our tree trunks. Oh, you know what? We should do that actually. We need some shadows coming across the path too. So not very much paint, but like I'm imagining this tree is casting a shadow. There's some others. We never really do this. But we probably should. Okay. I think my painting's done. How about you?
Not quite. I have to do my sun highlights real quick.
I'm going to go ahead and sign mine because I'm done.
I'm gonna make you stay longer and suffer through your allergies. I accidentally dragged a little phthalo green into my white because there was a tiny bit hanging out on my brush. I guess I'm gonna have to live with it.
I mean, you could use it to highlight.
out of this place. All right. Real sign.
And as soon as Jenny gets done with hers, we'll bring it over and see how she did.
I got everything.
There you go.
I put little white moths on mine.
Always.
I see, like, I need to develop this area a little bit more.
Not
When
necessarily.
I put kind of the lavenderish haze over it, it erased, covered up some of the stuff behind it.
Yeah, so by comparison, like if we were to throw the original on, you can see as well. It's just got a little bit more of a limey kind of background versus...
There we go. Actually, yeah, when I tilt it, you see a little bit better, more development. It's just like down there, it like kind of disappears.
Yeah, it's that one light overhead. It's just at the angle.
Mm-hmm.
It actually needs to be lower and further back. But,
I redeemed my path. It was like going way up this way. I was like, that's not right. So I fixed it.
Yay.
Thank you, Marlene. Can't wait to see yours. I've loved the stuff you've been posting on our Facebook group page, which Paul is not on Facebook very often, so he didn't see. I need to show you. Marlene nailed the bristlecone pine. Like
I did see it.
The sky was amazing.
Yeah, I did
oh, you did see it? And
yeah.
was it the ladybug too? Yeah, you did
Yeah,
the
I saw
ladybug and the
both.
bristlecone. Very, very good. I'm super impressed.
Yeah. My allergies are killing me, so...
Okay, so we're gonna move it back.
Yeah, let's bring it back. So, yeah, my eyes are burning, which doesn't matter because I can't see anyway. But I do not feel good.
Well, we gotta get out of here because it's obviously something that's in here.
Yeah, I don't know what it
You're
is.
allergic to work. That's what it is because we're
Could
in Paul's
be.
warehouse.
Yeah, could be.
And you worked all day. So.
Yeah, it's been a long week. And I'm ready for a nap.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys sometime next month. Let's see, next month, July, Paul has the Shakespeare show.
Just the first 2 weeks.
Two weekends in a row, but yeah, you're right. 2 weekends in a row. So the live streams might be a little bit later in the month.
No, we usually do third and fourth week. That's what we have been doing.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, if you didn't sign them, you couldn't really tell who did which one. Yeah, I thought mine did end up looking quite a bit like Paul's. I've gotten a little better at replicating his work, which is good because I feel like I need to loosen up sometimes, like I mentioned before, and I'm making it. I'm loosening up. All right, so that Paul has to stop suffering, I'm going to end the stream, and we will see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.